This is your brain's guide to making and completing to-do lists. Why? Because the best way to do anything is to do it the way your brain is built to do it. That just makes sense to me. If it makes sense to you, you're gonna love this video. Part 1, the most important thing. I'm not gonna make you wait till the end of the video to tell you the important stuff, so here we go. The most important thing that you need to do to make sure you successfully complete your to-do list is to let me rephrase that, is to properly use your brain's dopamine. Why am I talking about dopamine? Because dopamine is the brain's motivation. It is a reward-seeking and pleasure-seeking neurotransmitter. There's a big misconception that dopamine is about pleasure. It is not. Dopamine is what prompts you to go do a thing. And the more healthy dopamine you have access to in your brain, the easier it is for you to go do a thing, like a to-do list. This is super important. Dopamine gets you to do things, so you have to protect your dopamine. Now, this is what kills your dopamine. Anything that is a quick reward or a cheap pleasure devours your dopamine. It rapidly depletes it and then makes the rest of your day that much harder. This is why you feel so bad after you binge watch Netflix or binge scroll TikTok. Those activities just consume all your dopamine. But don't worry, your dopamine is restored and at its best after a good night's sleep, which means if you want to have a successful to-do list day, you need to have a good sleep the night before. We all know by now what you need for a good night's sleep, so we're gonna skip ahead to what happens the next day. So when you wake up the next morning, your dopamine is now a full tank of gas. And there are things you can do to get the engine running, but all those things require dopamine. You wanna open your curtains to get some morning sun? You need dopamine to get you to go do that. You wanna open the window for some fresh air? You need dopamine again to get you to go do that. These are all already using your dopamine, but that is dopamine well spent. The sun and fresh air will help your brain and body propel itself into taking more action. Using dopamine to perform healthy actions is good and can replenish your dopamine. But instead, if you wake up and reach for your phone and start checking notifications, it's game over. You just blew through your best dopamine and wasted it on a garbage activity. So we get it. Dopamine is what gets you to do things, so save your dopamine for the stuff you want to get done. Part 2, the actual to-do list. These are things that you're going to do the night before the to-do list day. And these things are very simple, take very little time, and they're going to make your next day 1000% better. Again, this whole thing takes less than 5 minutes to do, and it's going to help you conquer your next day and your tasks in record time and give you all this free extra time to do whatever you want. 5 minutes for hours worth of extra time. That's a huge return on investment. So let's go. Step 1, brain dump. You're gonna wanna write down all the things you wanna do on your to-do list. And you're just gonna write on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be neat. It can be messy. It doesn't have to be in order. You just need to write it all down. This is important and this works because your brain is always juggling tasks. So it's kind of like a browser with a bunch of different tabs open or a phone with a bunch of different apps open. By writing down the things you need to do, it's the same as closing all those tabs and freeing up space in your brain. Externally storing your to-do list by writing it down or typing it out tells your brain that it's okay to start closing those tabs, and you're gonna feel an immediate weight lifted off of you. Step 2, prioritize. You're gonna be using something called the Eisenhower Matrix. It's very simple and you're gonna be very happy you used it. There are 4 quadrants: urgent and important, not urgent and important, not important and urgent, and not important and not urgent. Now you're gonna take that list from step 1 and put each task into one of those categories. This shouldn't take you more than 2 minutes. If it's taking more than 2 minutes, you might be overthinking it and just burning brain resources for no reason. This is not a test. No one's judging you if you put a task in the less ideal category. It doesn't make a difference. You might catch it later, move it around, or you'll solve it later. It's not a problem. And you're gonna tackle your to-do list in this order: do, decide, delegate, delete. Step 3, micro tasks. So now what you're gonna do is take those tasks from those 4 quadrants and you're gonna just put it in a linear list. But if the tasks are too big or too vague, when you transfer it to that linear list, you're gonna break it down into subtasks. So for example, if you put clean the house and do, that's too big and vague a task. There's so many components that can be part of clean the house. So what you're gonna do is when you transfer it to the linear list, you're gonna put it as micro tasks. So for example, do the dishes, wipe the counter, vacuum, fold laundry, clean the bathrooms. Those are micro tasks. They're specific enough so you know exactly what you're doing, because when you're referencing your to-do list as you're kind of going through it, you want to be able to just quickly glance at your to-do list and know what you need to do next instead of having to read paragraphs. I don't want to read paragraphs when I'm looking at my to-do list. That just makes things daunting. Simple, concise, easy is the rule of thumb. Step 4. focus. Your brain works best in short bursts of focus. There are exceptions to the rule like flow state, but in general, that's the rule of thumb. So you're gonna use something called the Pomodoro Technique. It's 25 minutes of focused work where you're going through your to-do list and then 5 minutes of a mental break. In this mental break, one of the things I want you to do is cross off the things on your to-do list that you completed in that prior 25 minutes. Seeing yourself cross off things on a to-do list is going to give you a huge burst of dopamine and even some serotonin. The extra dopamine is going to get you pumped up for the next 25-minute work session, and the serotonin is going to give you a feeling of accomplishment in your brain. You should also use this 5 minutes to, take a break, walk around, grab some water, whatever it is, and then you're going to go back to the next 25-minute focus session. And again, followed by another 5-minute break where you're crossing off what you've done, and rinse and repeat till you are done your to-do list. Step 5, celebrate. This is gonna sound dumb, but it's important and you have to do it. You cannot skip this step. Your brain has a very specific way that it forms habits. It's cue, routine, reward. Cue, routine, reward. Cue, your to-do list is the cue, you doing the task on the to-do list is the routine, and then you need the reward. You've already been getting little rewards as you've been crossing off things there for your to-do list, but now it's time for the big reward. You are going to get high, not from drugs, but from your brain releasing a bunch of serotonin telling you did a good job and treating you to a literal feeling of happiness in your brain. You are also going to take a selfie of you holding up your to-do list with a big smile on your face and saying, dopamine, click. You can also have like a snack or whatever, but the selfie is forever. The selfie is a reminder. It's evidence that you have on your phone that you made a to-do list, executed on it, completed it in record time, and whenever you feel like you can't do such a thing, you just look at your phone, look at the selfie and be like, I did that, that's me. I can do it again. And the next time you do it again, take another selfie. Now you have 2 selfies of your phone with proof saying that you are a capable person that can do this. And then the next time you do it, take another selfie, and eventually you'll have a gallery of selfies that is proof of your ability to make a to-do list and execute on it and have full control over your day. Part 3, no excuses. You watch this video because you want it to be better. You want it to get control over your life and get shit done. But here's the part where everyone falls off, where everyone fails. After the video is finished, the excuses start. And it's usually about how your situation is unique or your circumstances are different and therefore you can't possibly handle making a to-do list. But here's the thing. This is your brain talking. Your brain is super optimized to tell your body to be as lazy as possible because it wants to save energy. Because it evolved at a time, mostly when we were hunter-gatherers, and we didn't know where our next meal was going to be. We didn't know when we were going to get calories again. And so the brain is built to be in energy saving mode all the time. Also, your brain is an amazing storyteller. It's not going to just say, hey, we need to conserve energy, so let's be lazy today. It will not do that. It will give you an elaborate story about how you had a tough week and your legs are hurting or whatever it is, and it will weave an intricate tale of reasons to try and trick you into conserving energy that you actually have, but it's telling you that you shouldn't use. And the only way to get around this is just to have knowledge that your brain is doing this and to just manually say, my brain is trying to fool me, I have the energy, I can get it done. I'm gonna go a step further with this no excuses thing. What I want you to do is after you take that selfie, after you complete your to-do list and take that first selfie, I want you to email me, send me that picture. I'll have an email in the description. And I want to personally reach back out to you. We're gonna be pen pals for a little bit and be like, great job. You mastered your dopamine and your brain. You have control over your actions, your day, whatever it is. I will be more eloquent, I promise. But we then can officially, if you want to, become pen pals for the next 30 days, where every day you're gonna make a to-do list the night before and execute it on that to-do list that day, and then send me an email with the selfie. And for 30 days, I'm gonna get 30 selfies of you being like, I am a capable person that can execute on the things I wanna do because I have control of my brain and therefore my body and therefore my life. Yeah. Anyway, tell your brain I said hi, and I hope to see you next time. Good luck.